We welcome you on a Friday night to downtown Houston inside Minute Maid Park, where tonight, part of Hall of Fame weekend, we kick off a three-game series against the Los Angeles Angels. That guy, Justin Verlander, will make his 500th career start, one of 49 pitchers all time to make that many starts as we get you ready for baseball on a Friday. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum, special guest in the booth as well on this Hall of Fame weekend. Plummer, you kick off this series against the Angels, a team desperate for wins, a divisional series, and you want to try and do well in this quick homestand.
Yeah, they've been kind of scrambling since that trade deadline with a couple of moves they made, but they have a chance to make a move inside the division, but it just hasn't been happening against the Astros.
So the Astros will have that big man on the mound today, making his home 2023 debut. And when you talk about Justin Verlander, you can talk about him in historical terms.
I was going to say, a lot of people want to call Scherzer and Verlander fossils inside the game, but they actually match up with actual fossils in Tim Keefe, Addie Joss, and Cy Young as far as numbers are concerned. But all-time lowest whip with a single team, Justin Verlander leading the way at a .84. That's walks and hits per inning pitch. He has been absolutely dominant, and this is what we talk about when we talk about controlling the game. Keeping base runners off the bases lead to lower ERAs.
Verlander pitching against the Angels today, and since joining the Astros, he has pitched well against this team.
Yeah, who knew putting him in this division would mean so many great things for the Astros overall, but it's actually been domination of the Los Angeles Angels. He has gone after them for 75 and 2/3 innings, and he's done it to a tune of 98 strikeouts. They have seen everything he's had to offer. They have yet to be able to match up with him. I would expect Justin Verlander to go out there with the same approach that he's had every time he's worn that Astro uniform against the Angels.
Verlander may have wrapped up his Cy Young candidacy in 2019 against the Angels when he got to those 300 strikeouts. We have Legends of the Hall during the course of today's broadcast. Bill Doran, Bill Brown going into the Astros Hall of Fame. We'll have Brownie with us on the broadcast tonight. We'll also have Billy Wagner on the broadcast tonight. Bill Doran will join us on Sunday. All that coming up right after this.
Minute Maid Park, it will be full tonight, sold out crowd to watch the Angels and the Astros face off in this three-game series. There's a lot more happening though than just the game on the field, starting with Justin Verlander on the mound. That's exciting too, as they just announced his name here. But back to Hall of Fame weekend. Two brand new inductees into the Astros Hall of Fame going in tomorrow in a pregame ceremony. What an unforgettable weekend it will be for second baseman Bill Doran and longtime broadcaster Bill Brown. Those are the two guys who will wear their orange jackets for the first time this weekend. They're already here, they're in the building, and they're already thinking back to the great times that they've had with this organization, starting with Bill Doran. Of course, great player, great second baseman, did it all for the team, was team MVP a couple of times, fan favorite still, and then Brownie, as we affectionately call him, lived in the booth for 30 years calling Astros baseball games, one of the best to ever do it, retiring after the 2016 season. This is definitely a special time for him and his family, and Brownie still doesn't think he belongs in there, but you're looking at some of their accolades. We're starting to celebrate tonight. We're even going to have Brownie in the booth for a couple of innings tonight, but these are the two brand new inductees, class of 2023. It's just an exciting time with the rich history of the Astros franchise. So fans, buckle in. It's going to be a fun weekend to watch, as well as what's going on the field tonight. So you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss Justin Verlander making his first start at home. We'll be back with first pitch right after this.
Is presented by Rooms to Go. Get one-stop shopping plus decorating made easy. That's Rooms to Go. And by Honda. New vehicles arriving daily. Visit your Greater Houston Honda dealer today. Career milestone for this guy, Justin Verlander. Tonight at Minute Maid Park, JV will make his 500th career start, one of just two active pitchers with 500 or more career starts. Zach Greinke, his former teammate, leads all active pitchers in starts, but quite a night for JV in his return to Houston.
Yeah, I would imagine it's pretty exciting for him, considering how he left this offseason with a Cy Young Award and a World Series ring. But at the same time, the need for him to come back came at that trade deadline, and Dana Brown went out there and got him and brought him back. And you can see the numbers this season, a 3.11 ERA. Pitched well last time out in that first outing in that Astros uniform. Since the return, went 7 innings against the New York Yankees, allowed 2 earned runs, didn't take the decision in there.
Here's the lineup he will face tonight. Phil Nevin will have Luis Rengifo leading off, and then the best player in baseball bats second. Brandon Drury hits in the 3 spot. Mike Moustakas has done a nice job since coming over in a deal. He is in the cleanup spot. C.J. Cron was acquired from Colorado. Mickey Moniak acquired last year from Philadelphia. Hunter Renfroe will bat 7th. Randall Grichuk, the local product, will bat 8th, and Chad Wallach will bat 9th and catch for the Angels. Astros starting defense is presented by Xfinity. Got Mauricio Dubon back out there in center field with Verlander on the mound. Kyle Tucker's in right. Yordan Alvarez gets a start in left field. Alex Bregman having a good year defensively at third base. Jeremy Pena is the shortstop. Jose Altuve and John Singleton getting the start. Jose Abreu still bothered by that back issue, not in the lineup for a second straight day. Singleton will make the start today against the lefty Reed Detmers. So we're ready to go on a Friday night. Astros start the night 2.5 games behind the Texas Rangers. Rangers are starting a series in San Francisco against the Giants later on tonight. The Astros have this quick 3-game series against the Angels at home, then right back on the road to take on the Miami Marlins beginning on Monday. Angels have won their last 2 games and stand currently at 500 on the season. They're 58-58. Astros have played the same number of games and are 66-50. We're underway with a first pitch swing way up in the rafters, and it is going to be playable and caught by Jose Altuve. That did not hit anything up there on the roof. Maybe went in between the support beams up there, and Altuve stayed with it. How about this guy?
He's really good. He's their best hitter, best pitcher, best player.
I started to write down a whole bunch of notes and I ran out of room. So
either that or ink.
So it's just suffice to say the best player I've ever seen. Shohei Ohtani, even if he didn't play another game the rest of the year, would probably be the AL MVP. He has had that good of a year. As the first 2 to Ohtani miss up, it's 2-0. Shohei facing Justin Verlander tonight. Verlander has basically had a season worth of starts in his career against the Angels, 30 starts, and has pitched 200 innings. He's 15-11 all time with a 3.25 or 3.20 ERA, more strikeouts than innings pitched against this team. As Shohei fouls off the 2-0 pitch. Verlander, in facing Ohtani, has held him to a 4 for 20 mark, but all 4 of those hits have been extra base hits for Shohei, 2 doubles and 2 home runs. That one fouled out of play. Angels had an off day yesterday. There was some question whether Shohei would be in the lineup today. He said he's been feeling a little bit fatigued lately, and you wouldn't blame him. All he does is go out there and start every 6 days, and he's played in 114 out of 116 games in the lineup. But he is in there tonight against Verlander. Hooks that one right to Jose Altuve. Jose makes the first 2 plays of the day as Shohei Ohtani retired for the second out. Verlander making his first start here as an Astro since Game 1 of the World Series last year. JV made his 23 debut with the Astros at Yankee Stadium and pitched very well, just didn't have any run support. 7 innings of 2-run baseball in a game the Astros lost to New York 3-1. That was on Saturday, so Verlander pitching on 5 days rest going into tonight. Here's Brandon Drury. When we last saw the Angels, it was Mickey Moniak hitting behind Shohei Ohtani, but now Drury, who's been hot lately, hits in the 3 spot behind Ohtani. And there's a nice breaking ball for a called strike. The crew chief behind the plate tonight, Alfonso Marquez.
Good curveball right there. MD Anderson strike zone is going to show you that curveball getting back to that inside corner.
And there's a foul ball back. Stays 0-2 on Drury. Verlander tonight with his 500 start ties former Astro Joe Niekro, 48th all-time in games started in MLB history. Zach Greinke has 536, the only active player with more. To JV's credit, getting to a mark with one of 49 pitchers is impressive enough, and especially when you consider these days there's not four-man rotations, there's not seasons where you start 40 or more games like you did in the past. Getting to 500 in this day and age is quite an accomplishment.
No, I agree, and I think this generation of pitcher, the Scherzers, the Greinkes, the Verlanders, some of these numbers that you do see with the 500 starts kind of speaks to longevity, and you kind of wonder, this next generation, are you going to start to see those numbers, or are you going to have to adjust what those standards are for the Hall of Fame, because some of these careers and some of the innings and numbers and that they accrue may not match up.
That's a fair point. I would agree. I think that next generation of pitchers coming through now that are in their early to mid 20s might not get to that 500 start mark. You're a lot more conscious these days of protecting guys' innings. The Astros right now are in a six-man rotation.
Not to mention regression analytics that are out there for guys the age of Greinke, Verlander, and
this ball to left, and Justin Verlander, in start number 500 in his career, has a 1-2-3 inning. Welcome back to Minute Maid Park, JV. Games. Alex Bregman hits second. Yordan Alvarez in the 3 spot. Kyle Tucker back-to-back lefties today. Yainer Diaz hits fifth. Mauricio Dubon gets the start in center field. John Singleton bats seventh. Jeremy Pena and Martin Maldonado round out Dusty Baker's lineup.
They'll be facing left-hander for the Angels. Reed Detmers, 20 starts on his season. 4.78 is his ERA. His last 5 starts, he is 0-3 with an 8.61 ERA, and you can see across the bottom 0-2 with that 6.55 ERA equals an 8 earned runs in 11 innings against the Astros this season.
So here is Altuve riding that 12-game hitting streak. Altuve came oh so close to his first 5-hit game on Thursday, and also very close to his first cycle of his career. And he goes after the first pitch and hooks one into the crowd down the left field side. Altuve on the year batting .305. He's 21 for 50 during this 12-game hitting streak. As early on, Chad Wallach has to do a little repair work to that mask, trying to get the PitchCom earpiece set up in that backside of the mask. Looks like they're going to have to change the receiver here. But Altuve was a triple shy the cycle. He thought that last at bat he was going to be retired and could have had a triple in that final at bat when he ended up with a double, and he could have had a 5-hit game if the great third baseman, the Gold Glove, reigning Gold Glover Ramon Urias didn't make a play on him in the first inning.
Yeah, a couple of ifs and ands in that game for Jose Altuve. That was a great play by Urias to start that game off in Baltimore, laying out and robbing extra base hit of Jose Altuve, which potentially could have been that first 5-hit game. And then as deep as, and as ridiculously deep as that left field is in Baltimore, he thought he had a fly out, but it ended up off the wall.
Urias ended up making 2 plays that really impacted the game.
Yeah.
That first play against Altuve, and then the one late that kept the game a 1-run game when Yainer Diaz hit one off his glove. So Detmers will throw a warm-up pitch or 2, and he's ready to go. Reed Detmers was 5 years old when Justin Verlander made his big league debut in the 2005 season. Detmers 0-1 now on Altuve. And there's a strike, 0-2. 21st start of the year for Detmers, 9th on the road. His last 3 have gone 5 innings or fewer. Gave up 7 runs in 4 innings against Seattle in his last start. This one grounded in a perfect spot. Jose Altuve, 13-game hitting streak on an 0-2 pitch. Grounds one through the middle just past Detmers.
Altuve just punching this one. Kind of a late swing decision by him as you recognize this cutter coming back. The hands had already started to drift forward a little bit, but he's able to stay through that zone. And like TK said, just found that soft spot in the infield defense, and he's got himself a leadoff knock.
So here's Alex Bregman. Bregman had a good series in Baltimore after struggling against the Yankees to kick off that road trip. Breggy went 6 for 13 against the Orioles. Takes one up. 2-0 the count. Bregman 2 for 10 in his career against Detmers with 3 walks. Three and 0. Well, Breggy normally patient, doesn't swing much 3-0. He did twice against Justin Verlander this year. But here he takes one inside for ball 4. 4-pitch walk allowed by Detmers, and the Astros have the first 2 on tonight.
Statcast 3D powered by Google Cloud. Show you the pitch arsenal for Reed Detmers. Against left-handed hitters, you're going to see fastball, slider, curveball. The slider's been getting hit pretty hard by left-handed hitters. 387 is that average against that pitch. Right-handers, you're going to see a little bit bigger mix. Slider, forcing fastball, curveball, changeup, and that rare sweeper coming across the zone. Left-handed hitters this season hitting 312 against Detmers.
Well, Detmers has walked at least 2 in his last 4 starts. Walks Bregman on 4 pitches, and now Yordan Alvarez bats. The big man has a .999 OPS against lefties this year. Goes after the first pitch and spins out of it as he swings and misses. It's 0-1.
Hit his spot.
Time called by the Angels there, which you're allowed to do with runners on. Disengagement number 1 for Detmers. See the numbers for Yordan against left-handers. 6 of his 21 home runs against lefties. As he gets in on him here, a little fly ball to left, playable for Grichuk. Randall Grichuk makes the play for out number 1. I'm going to bring up Kyle Tucker. What a series for Tuck in Baltimore. Won that game on Tuesday night with his grand slam. Ended up with a 7 RBI game, or 7 RBI series against the Orioles. See his AL ranks. 21 home runs, 84 runs batted in, a team leading 28 doubles. Now batting with Altuve and Bregman on and 1 out. There goes Altuve. Bregman stops, and Altuve went too early. Altuve's going to get tagged out. Jose had a huge jump in that series against Baltimore on Thursday, but it doesn't work out today as he left too early.
We always love Jose's aggressiveness, but I think with Kyle Tucker at the plate, you see this tag on our matches from Supermo. I think with the guy at the plate, you might want to hold your ground. It's been swinging the bat pretty well of late.
Tuck takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1. Now Bregman was trailing Altuve, and then he saw that inside move by Detmers, and he put on the brakes. But at that point, Altuve was already halfway to third. So that'll be the second time Altuve's caught stealing this year. And a pitch misses wide. It's 1-1. Last time Altuve got that kind of jump, it was with Bregman at the plate, and Bregman served one into right field, which turned out to be a perfect hit and run. That one's down, 2-1. Astros left New York down 2.5 games. They finished off that series against Baltimore, winning 2 out of 3, and they are still 2.5 games back. Rangers won 2 out of 3 against the A's. This one hooked, and a diving stop by C.J. Cron catches it in the air for the final out of the inning. So a promising inning goes awry. First and second, nobody out. The Astros fail to score.
Presented by Ford, talking about Justin Verlander right here at Minute Maid Park as a Houston Astro. Well, Astros fans would not be surprised by the numbers that you're seeing on your screen and how good they are. The 2.27 ERA, the opponent average very good, under 200 there. That whip is crazy because he's good in this building. Every time he goes out there, he seems to put up a great start. He has 61 total starts in this building with other teams and has the lowest ERA in stadium history. And guys, he called that last start, which was his first start with the Astros this year, oddly familiar, saying that really just 3 months with another team because he missed that first month with the injury, and it felt like he had really been in Houston the whole time in a way. He said, I love these guys. I love to be able to go out there and compete with them once again, TK.
And great to see him back in an Astros uniform. Made that 23 Astros debut at Yankee Stadium, now pitching at home for the first time. And there you see the ERA leaders here at Minute Maid Park, minimum of 300 innings. Mike Moustakas, the batter, has a count of 1-2. Moustakas has done a nice job since coming over to the Angels. His numbers in 34 games with the Angels: 285, 7 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Just missed the top of the zone. Tough take, but it turns out to work out for Moustakas. It's 2-2. See Verlander with good numbers against a lot of hitters in this lineup. That's updated on Shohei Ohtani with his ground out his first time up. Moustakas has 71 career at-bats against JV, which is the most he's had against any pitcher in his career. And hitting just 169 with 16 strikeouts. Got in on him as he fouls one back. Stays 2-2 on Moose.
It's basically seeing the evolution of Justin Verlander. It's quite a few at-bats. Not very much success.
Little tapper that Maldonado's going to make the play on. Maldi flips it to John Singleton for the first out of the inning. That one hit the plate, I think.
It was bounced pretty good up there. Maldi with the fair catch and toss. Called it.
Right off the middle of the plate. So another guy that the Angels acquired from Colorado. Moose was acquired. Moustakas acquired June 24. C.J. Cron was acquired July 30th, right at the trade deadline. He and Randall Grichuk coming over in the same deal. So 3 of the guys in the lineup tonight for the Angels were playing in Colorado earlier this year. Cron pops a foul. That'll be out of play. It's 1-1. Cron 5 for 29 against JV, a double, a home run, 8 strikeouts. Most of the strikeouts have come on the slider when he has faced Verlander. He hits this one hard, and Jordan will turn around and watch this one. That is deep into the Crawford boxes for Cron's first extra base hit as an Angel. He had been 7 for 36, all singles. But hits a home run off Verlander here. Second home run of his career against JV in 30 at bats.
2-1 fastball, kind of down and in. Stayed on that inner third, caught a lot of the plate. But Crone has some pop. Recognized, did a good job of pulling the hands in and getting the barrel to that one.
I'll bring up Mickey Moniak. Moniak takes the ball. Been a good year for Moniak, hitting .300. Even better on the road this season. Kickoff Hall of Fame weekend tonight here with this game against the Angels. We'll have special guests joining us in the booth throughout the weekend tonight. Billy Wags, Billy Wagner will join us in the 3rd inning. Bill Brown will join us in the 4th inning. We'll have a 3-man booth for a little while, and then Brownie and Blummer will take over the reins for the bottom of the 4th and top of the 5th. It'd be cool to have Brownie back in the booth.
It will be.
And Wags.
Have Brownie around. Oh, well, what? Yeah, that's it. Two different kinds of fun.
You caught up with Wags before the game.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. You know, I had no idea that Phil Nevin was a roommate of his in AAA.
Is that right?
So going back in time a little bit, Ray Montgomery was down there, an ex-Astro. And then, of course, you got Sparky down there, Mark Gubaza, and all of a sudden it turns into just old storytelling, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could trade Phil Nevin roommate stories, huh?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, they might be the same stories.
That's what I'm saying.
Different people. Yeah, different phases of our careers. I was the salty older Phil Nevin, whereas Billy got the younger, more exciting Phil.
2-2 the catch. Catch up with Nev too?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not much. We've gotten to the point where I think we can make eye contact and have a conversation. And he kind of gave me a glancing, eye roll as he walked past me to go watch his team take batting practice.
It's a pretty big 7-week stretch here, 7.5-week stretch here for Nevin and the Angels. They went for it at the trade deadline.
Yeah, they did. They went for it at the trade deadline, trying to give him some pieces. We know this offense. You talked about Crone, Grichuk, Moustakas. They're trying to find an offense to go out there and help Ohtani out. But then you have the injuries to Anthony Rendon. You have the injury to Mike Trout. Drury's in and out of the lineup. So they've had some issues. Neto, too, I think, was a big piece for their defense, too. So he's trying to work around a lot of that and trying to get back into health. Trout might be coming back in the next week or so. But he has been amazingly positive. Great pitch. '24 season tickets are on sale now. The best way to experience every home run, every double play, and every moment is at the ballpark. Enjoy every game of the 2024 season by becoming an Astros season ticket holder. Visit Astros.com/season tickets to learn more. But pitching other than Shohei Ohtani always seems to be the issue for the Angels.
Yeah, and that's the big conundrum now as Hunter Renfroe takes a called strike. You've got Shohei in the final year of his contract. It's been well documented. He'll be a free agent at the end of this year. So the Angels figure we're going to go for it while we know for sure we have Shohei on our team. But they're at 500 right now with 46 games to go. So even if they win 2/3 of their games, they'll still be right around 89, 90 wins. And that's if they win 2 out of every 3 from here on out. And then you go into the offseason. If you don't make the playoffs, here's the 1-1 pitch to Renfroe. Then what do you do? Because if you sign Shohei, you give yourself even less wiggle room to build pitching around Shohei. It's a tough spot to be in.
Extremely tough.
And Shohei's going to make more money than anybody else in baseball, and rightfully so.
There's going to be some countries out there that don't make as much as he does.
And it should stay that way for a few years. There probably will not be another Shohei-type contract after Shohei signs this offseason for a few years down the road.
I'm just curious to see how they structure it, because whoever signs him is going to sign him to a long-term deal.
This ball hit high in the air to left field, but Jordan has a beat on it and puts it away. Right on the edge of the warning track, Renfroe flies out to deep left. Solo home run by Crone, and the Angels lead 1-0.
out the pinned tweet. It is the stroll poll right there at the top for you. Choose your ultimate Astros pitching 1-2 punch. Nolan Ryan, Roy Oswalt, Verlander, J.R. Richard, Mike Scott, Ryder Clemens. Or D, yes. Vote at ATT Sportsnet S. That's not one of the options, but that's where I'm going, TK.
You're voting D.
Yeah. All of the above.
That's going to throw the stroke poll off because you're an influencer.
A lot of write-ins.
No. No write-ins. This is fun.
Yainer Diaz leading off here. And there's a line drive in the right field. That's down for a base hit. Yainer Diaz, a leadoff runner for the Astros, just like Altuve was in the first.
What's interesting about watching that swing right there from Yainer Diaz is taking a fastball basically middle and going the other way with it. Not trying to do too much. That's a pitch some guys are trying to unload on, but he was kind of working on going the other way in batting practice today and executes that beautifully.
Mauricio Dubon right up the middle, base hit right on top of Reed Detmer. So just like that, a couple pitches into the inning, and the Astros have a rally going just like they did last inning.
Yeah, back-to-back innings with the first two hitters in the inning getting on base. Good job by Mauricio recognizing and keeping those hands back, shooting it right back up the middle. We know he's hyper-aggressive up there, usually on that fastball, but kept the hands back nicely to take that pitch and go right back up the middle.
So here's John Singleton getting a start tonight against the lefty. Went 0 for 4 in his first start for the Astros yesterday. Batted in a huge spot, as it turns out, in the 9th inning against Felix Bautista. And he's almost hit by that pitch. That's going to send the runners 90 feet each. That ball over the head of Singleton to the backstop. A wild pitch sending Yainer to third and Mauricio to second.
Pretty impressive just to get out of the way. That is a slider that doesn't slide, just goes over the back of the skull of John Singleton. Pretty good job of getting that bat out of the way, too. Watch the bat lay flat. If he leaves that thing sticking straight up, who knows?
Well, John can pick up his first RBIs in an Astros uniform in over 8 years as he takes one off the plate for a ball, 1-0.
Big John gets down on those legs.
Singleton hits one high, hits one deep, fair ball to 3-run bomb. It is John Singleton hits his first big league home run in 2,935 days, and the Astros lead this game 3-1.
Number 1 on the season for the tank, John Singleton. Welcome back to the Astros, John Singleton. We talked about home debuts again in Justin Verlander. How about the home debut again for John Singleton?
8 years and 13 days in between big league home runs.
A majestic blast.
You're right, Plummer. Everybody was returning to Minute Maid Park today, buzzing about the homecoming for Justin Verlander, but it's a longer homecoming of John Singleton's that makes the headlines early. His last home run, July 29, 2015.
Woo. That had to feel good.
A guy who was out of baseball, out of affiliated ball for 3 years, ended up playing in the Mexican League in 2021. He has had a lot of hurdles to overcome to get back to the big leagues. And congratulations to him to persevere and get through what could have been some years where a lot of guys would have given up.
Well, how about falling out of the league and convincing teams to bring you back? That tells you how hard he had to work to get back in.
Yeah, that's
great shape.
That's the other side of it. You have to convince teams that it's worth the risk to bring me back and then go out and produce everywhere, every day. Probably more so than another guy because he was a little bit older at this point in his career. And he did. Good for him.
Absolutely. You're kidding me? That makes that home run that much more special for him.
You guys caught up when we were in Baltimore a little bit, and you had seen him back in the day, so it's probably cool for you to see him years later.
Yeah, because as a young left-handed power hitter, you saw the numbers, and then of course he garnered a ton of attention when Jeff Luhnow gave him that $10 million extension in the minor leagues, which was unheard of at the time. Get through another base hit, so 4 straight base hits to start this inning. So he had a lot of scrutiny on him both on the field and off the field, but for him to work back and sit on this two-seamer and absolutely unload. The only thing I'm mildly disappointed with is the bat flip because some of the bat flips in Sugarland were incredible, and he had every right to let it go on this one. But that's just that contact point is just a culmination of all the hard work to get back here.
He probably wanted to be 100 that was going to be a fair ball.
Oh, man.
Because if you bat
there was
flip,
plenty of distance. Yeah, you're right.
If you bat flip it hooks foul,
woo,
that's not a great look when you haven't had one since 2015.
How great is it to take a pitch behind your head and take the next pitch out?
This place is still buzzing after that 3-run home run. Here's Martin Maldonado. And the Angels quickly have bullpen action going. One of their 3 lefties warming up. That one's down the line. That's a fair ball. It's going to actually hit the stool of the ball boy, and it'll be a double for Martin Maldonado. The ball boy took off, left the stool there, and it hit that stool. It stayed in play in foul territory. Now Matt Wise will go out and visit with Detmers, who's in trouble here in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, he's going to try and slow this inning down a little bit. 5 straight hits now. Smaldy pulls that past Moustakas down that third baseline.
That's the kid who made the great play last homestand. I like that after it hit the stool, he's like, oop, I need to take that away.
Forgot something.
No evidence. So yeah, how about this rally? 5 straight hits. 7 of the 9 Astros have reached base here the first time through the lineup. Time for a word from Jack in the Box.
If the Astros score 3, tomorrow you score a free Jumbo Jack with a large drink purchase.
So now Jose Altuve a chance to add to this lead. 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. Altuve singled on a ground ball to the left of Luis Rengifo his first time up. And takes one up for a ball, 1-0. 6 hits already in this game. First time through the lineup for the Astros. Altuve takes one up. Close pitch, but called correctly by Marquez. It's 2-0. Altuve and Luis Rengifo, who he hit the ball past his first time up, catching up before the game. Teammates on the Venezuela WBC team. That one is a strike, 2-1. Jose, with that hit his first time up, now has a hit in 5 consecutive at-bats.
Not shocking.
And it's 3-1 with Breggy waiting on deck. With the lefty Rosenberg warming up, you might wonder if Detmers will face Jordan and Tucker in this inning. Altuve could be his final hitter. If not Altuve, it might be Bregman. Mountains up. Ball 4. Phil Nevin having a conversation here whether he's seen enough from Reed Detmers. He's got Breggy batting with the bases loaded, as he and Matt Wise have a discussion whether this will be the final batter or not. Nevin left his seat after the walk, and he has decided to keep Detmers in there. Nobody out. 6 in a row have reached base. Breggy going after the first pitch, fouls it away.
Got a little aggressive on that pitch in off the plate. Coming into this game, Detmers had given up 22 runs in his last 23 innings. He is amidst a very tough stretch of 6 starts.
Breggy has gone out of the zone a couple of times, which is rare, especially after a walk, and now the count's 0-2, and Alex wants to regroup and calls time.
It's about 4 or 5 opportunities with the bases loaded, I feel like, in the last 2 or 3 days for the Astros.
Yeah, their bases loaded opportunities in Baltimore a lot of times came with 2 outs. And other than Tucker, they didn't really take advantage of a lot of those bases loaded situations. Bregman chops one slowly towards short. They're going to try and turn 2. A run's going to score. Bregman safe. The throw gets by Crow, and Maldonado's going to hold at third. Altuve is out as the fielder's choice. Bregman reaches, and the Astros now lead 4-1.
Would have been tough to turn this double play. Ball not hit very hard. Rengifo had to sit back on that one. Didn't matter anyways with that throw from Drury.
Well, Jeremy Pena scores on the fielder's choice for Bregman. And that'll bring up Yordan Alvarez, first and third, 1 out.
They're staying with Detmers too.
Yordan waves that first pitch, 0-1.
It's not too often you see him off balance like that. Just maybe 3-4 games for Yordan. Timing just a little bit off.
Yeah, really good at bats Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, the timing was off just a tick. And it showed up here in the first couple of swings tonight, but he can turn it around with 1 swing. Although he takes that strike, it's 0-2. Yordan now 1 for 7 in his career against Detmers. Flied out to left his first time up. Hits the ball to third. Maldonado is holding up. They're not going to be able to turn this double play, or will they? No. That was a long run for Brandon Drury to kind of, in the defensive alignment, get to that bag in time. So Yordan was able to beat that throw, and that scored Maldonado, who held up initially on the ground ball.
That's just communication on defense for me. Rengifo has to be the guy that Moustakas goes to, but he broke towards Moustakas on that, so it only left Drury available over there. You could see Rengifo late to break to the bag. Very fortunate just to get 1 out on that ground ball.
And that was not a wise break by Rengifo. He had no shot at that base.
No.
So he needed to be the pivot in that alignment, and instead, by the time Drury got there, Yordan beat the throw and gets an RBI. Now Tucker pops one up. Playable for C.J. Cron. Tucker flings the bat away, and that'll do it for the Astros. But a big inning. They bat around, and the big swing from Big John.
John Singleton got the fastball he was looking for and did not miss any part of it going into the second deck for that 3-run jack. 5 runs in the inning, making 5-1 Houston.
Houston Methodist, when you talk about the best of all time, how about Billy Wagg's all-time ranks in the major leagues? Opponent average 187, number 1. Strikeouts per 9, number 1. This is minimum 900 innings pitched. Hits per 9, lowest ever. Mariano Rivera, he's not bad. He has you in whip and opponent's OPS, but you're number 2 in all those categories as we head to the 3rd inning, and we welcome in Billy Wagner, Astros Hall of Famer. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Good to see you. How's everything? How's life? How's Will doing in the minors?
Well, I was just watching. So he just had an at bat. He's 0 for 2, but good AB. So, life's great. I'm down here, get to celebrate a couple guys that I know going into the Hall of Fame, and then make the trip down to Corpus. So it's been great.
Pop up off the bat of Randall Grichuk. Jeremy Pena hoping that Yordan Alvarez doesn't keep coming, and he doesn't. There's out number 1.
Yeah, you take it.
You take it. Bill, when you watch the video and then you put the numbers to it, did it feel like you were doing that at the moment you were pitching? Were you even thinking about that?
No, it was straight survival. It was straight survival.
Surviving with 100. You were one of the few.
Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things. It's like being chased by a lion. So when you're being chased by the lion, you don't realize what you're doing. It was just go out there and get these guys out. And it's just when I sit here today and watch these closers come in, and they're crazy good.
It's going to be a triple here. Dubon kind of hit hard into that wall. Couldn't come up with that high fly ball off the bat of Chad Wallach. Here's another look.
Looked like it kind of surprised him. The ball was hit hard. Stayed in the ballpark. You can see Mauricio drifting back there, made a lunging effort, but I think that wall kind of got to him before he realized it was supposed to be there. Kind of rattled the cage a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God he ain't got Towles Hill there.
Well, I was going to say, if he had Towles Hill, he would have ended up on the hill.
Yeah, into a flagpole.
Like Bish?
Or Lance rolling around over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We could sit up here and rack fest.
No, I want to hear it. I want to be a fly on the
I know
wall.
you can. That's why I tried to set you up for it.
Oh, yeah.
So what was your reaction from the bullpen when you saw Lance Berkman rolling around on Towles Hill that one?
Well, he did catch the ball, so I didn't really – it was like – I mean, we've seen Lance – and, Lance can do the most he makes the most unorthodox plays. He makes some routine plays look unorthodox. But he always made them, so you couldn't really say a lot. So, I mean, because if he did make an error out there, he'd go out and hit a 3-run bomb. So,
Right.
I mean, he was always it wasn't for lack of trying.
No.
Who was your favorite bullpen mate in your career?
Good one.
Oh, gosh.
Because you were out there with some interesting ones. In the early 2000s, you had the Octavio Dotels.
Well, you had the Dotels who was wide open. And so, wide open. You don't know where he was at. You just knew that somewhere between the 7th and 8th he would be in that bullpen. But you had, Mike Jackson, Flash. There were some dudes in that bullpen.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was like, were you ever worried about your job? I said, no, I was only worried if I wasn't doing my job.
Yeah.
I said, but because there was guys, there was a year where we had Mike Jackson, Lidge, Dotel, Flash, and Mike Williams.
Wow.
In the bullpen.
Come on.
And so you're sitting here going, you're just sitting here.
And you're the guy.
Yeah, and you're the guy. And everybody else is going, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're getting to the ninth going, oh, my God. But, yeah, there were some great guys. But, there in every stop that I had, there were just some great guys. And, you're in that bullpen and you're just battling with each other. So, you know what's going on. Mike Maddox. Mike Maddox was an awesome teammate. Yep. He was there. Doug Henry, Jay Powell. There's so many. It's funny. I think about it going down the line of how awesome – and a great closer or a good closer is good when you have great setup men. And Lidge, Dotel, Ricky Stone, Russ Springer, Tim Morrell, Flash, Ugi Urbina. I've had some guys out that made me look really good because they did all the hard work.
What inning would you head down there?
I was down there about the 5th, and I was puking about the 8th. Seriously, y'all have no – ask Stretch Suba. I would be in the bathroom because everybody's like, it's just routine. He said, I was a wreck. I'd blown these games probably 10 times. That anxiety of like, oh, my gosh. And I would come out, and I really think some of the reason that I had what I had when I got to the mound was just that fear of failure, that fear of – letting the team down, and so you added to it. But there was that. Oh man, there was many games. That, like one game that sticks out is like the no hitter.
Oh,
the no hitter. We've got an 8-run lead. I'm like, holy cow. But in Yankee Stadium, or Bobby Cox's last ball game could have been my last ball game,
yeah.
And he brings me in the 8th inning, and I'm facing. I think it's Jason Worth. I think the first pitch is lined off the wall for a double, and so now all of a sudden a 3-run lead turns into a 1-run lead, and so I end up punching outside. But it was anxiety ridden that whole day.
So were you watching any of the game last season when the Astros went into New Yankee Stadium and had a combined no-hitter?
Yes,
that was wild.
Well, When we did it, what was unique, that was the first time we'd ever been there.
Yeah.
The first time we'd ever been there, and all the writers, they were just loving it. They were like, the ghosts of Yankee Stadium. You've heard about their stories?
Myth, yeah.
All these myths. Because I remember after the game, I said, I guess they took the night off.
They gave us one.
And but, it's so hard to do those things. And then when you see it done, the no-hitters being thrown – today, it's hard. I think it's harder to throw a no-hitter today than it was. I don't want to take anything away from Nolan and these guys who've thrown it, but the strike zone difference that you have to fight now.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And I mean, your stuff better be great. I mean, and the plays that have to be made, I mean, there's just so much more that's got to happen for you, I feel like, nowadays.
Yeah, we had a pretty lengthy conversation downstairs, and you kind of spoke to a difference that you've seen in the time you played, and that might perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing, and the difference between now, but it's kind of interesting to have an old school guy like Verlander up there with that pitch up and in.
Well, when you look at the guys who throw today, I mean, the velocities that these guys throw, I mean, Verlander reminds you of the Clemens, the Nolans, the guys like that when they were the man. When they stepped on that man, you didn't dig in, you didn't get comfortable because I own this plate. You can have this, but I have the rest. And you know, these closers I see today, they're so good. They're just their stuff is it's really amazing to watch the guys. I mean, Presley, his stuff are amazing. The thing that you don't see as much now is they don't clear space because I think they're so worried about time, and they also have a different type of strike zone. You couldn't do these things where, I mean, throwing up and in, getting behind the count, back to back up and in on a guy, that was a norm.
You can stay another half?
Absolutely.
Billy Wagner joining us for the bottom of the third, 5-2 Astros.
Witness the induction of former second baseman Bill Doran and longtime play-by-play broadcaster Bill Brown into the Astros Hall of Fame. Find tickets at astros.com/Hall of Fame. Have a Hall of Famer in the booth. Astros Hall of Famer talking
there
about another one.
There we go.
I'm setting you up, Billy.
Oh, it's perfect.
Go for it.
I'm just going to roll around. Here I got it. You know what? I love him, though. I mean, he made the plays.
Was he not the most entertaining teammate ever?
Well, ask him after you've hit a home run. That was the best. He's like, hey, what was that? You know, it could be a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
He was the worst.
That'd be an 88. I think it was a slider.
No. He would do that all the time.
Really?
People like, I think he hung in a split. You look up at the board, it's 95.
Really?
Like, come on, man. Help me out.
Yeah, you never knew what he hit.
Well, I would like to think, I'm going to think he did because he was really good. But he could put on that persona. I mean, he was just. I mean, he had he would give off that naive, like, oh, I'm up there swinging, and I mean, he could take some pitches, and you'd be like, and then crush a ball that you're like, man, that's really good. He was just. It's a shame that he hasn't gotten more attention for the Hall of Fame because people don't realize.
Yes.
And that to me came in the era where the Astros weren't as promoted and stuff in that situation. We were, but he was so good. I mean, for that, you look at his 10-year span. I mean, he was as good as it goes.
The fact that he was on for 1 year is criminal.
It is criminal.
It is.
His switch hitting numbers you can put him up against anybody.
Yeah.
So let's speak of the Hall of Fame. I know we've talked about this in the past. You jumped up to 68%. That's a nice trajectory. Without going into, do you think it's going to happen? Did you watch this year's ceremonies? Did you see the Scott Rowland, Fred McGriff?
Absolutely, and I think the closer I get, and plus there's more guys that I actually know.
Yep.
I think that makes it a little bit more personal because seeing Scotty, competing against Scotty, his whole career, my whole career together, it's just fun. I mean, he's a great person. Fred McGriff, you don't get any better. And so listening to how they talk and what it meant to them, and that means a lot because you really lay it down the line. And when you have time off from the game to really look back and see how awesome that experience, that journey was, because during that journey, and I'll speak for myself, is that, man, at times it was not fun. Even during success, it was not fun because it was a job. It was like as a everyday kind of pitcher, it was like if you got to save the day, you couldn't enjoy it because you had to be ready for tomorrow. And so you didn't really get to enjoy it until the end. And so it was to hear them talk about the things that really meant something to them, the people who were around them. I thought that was really, really nice.
Yeah, welcome to playing every day. It's tough, isn't it?
I felt like it. I felt like it was tough. I made it tough at times.
Who was the biggest influence for you early in your career?
Holy cow. He might have done it again. If this stays fair, it's a 5 RBI game. It is.
Did they go up over Ultra?
That is very close to where he put that first ball, a 3-run home run, followed by a 2-run home run.
Hello.
John Singleton's return to Minute Maid Park for the first time in over 8 years, and he's having a career day.
How's that make you feel, Billy?
I'm glad I'm up here.
They look way better up here, don't they?
Oh, my gosh, I'm like cheering like, they're awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
That was an absolute
super happy for him. Super
Amazing
happy.
story, isn't it?
It really is. And I mean, this game gives back so much. You get second chances, and it's just, that's what's so awesome about baseball and why baseball can be translated into life situations. And, for as bad as things have went for this young man on the mound, I mean, he gets to come back. And, Singleton coming out having this day in front of the home crowd, I mean, that's great.
Well, the guy on the mound now is, we'll take another look at this home run. Go ahead, Blummer.
Oh, that is a backup slider that got absolutely destroyed. There's a little bit better bat flip for me.
He got his first one, so now he's like, all right, we'll just bat flip this.
Did that get over Ultra?
Almost.
Oh, man.
He hit that in the exact same spot as he did the previous one.
Within a few seats, right?
Wow.
How about the guy on the mound making the pitching change? You guys both roomed with this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yes, we did.
I happened to mention that earlier. And what's interesting is you had him early in your career, or in his and yours career.
Oh, yeah.
I had him a little bit later when he was a little bit saltier, a little more bitterness involved. But you said something about him that cracked me up. You said he was a big leaguer in college.
Well,
he'd been a big leaguer for a long time.
Well, I tell you, he came in and he was the #1 pick overall. And he was I think he was drafted 2 years ahead of me, because the next year they didn't sign the #1 pick. The next year they signed me, and so he's there, and I get the kid treatment. What's up, kid? And so. All right, and so I'm working my way up, but the funniest story, and this is PG rated, so we're in spring training, and he rolls out there, and him and Phil Simms, and I think Ray Montgomery, who's his bench coach, they have to miss a game, or a spring training game, because they laid out in the sun and fell asleep, and so they were sunburned, and so. I remember coming in looking at big leaguer, huh? Yeah. But it was,
What are all three of them tanning together for?
Well, they were known to do those things. So, it was good.
Good to have Billy Wagner up in the booth here as we have a pitching change, as their old roommate Phil Nevin had to call him the bullpen here in the third inning.
Yeah, it's going to be left-hander Kenny Rosenberg. I could listen to you tell stories forever. And one of my introductions, I came over from Montreal when I got traded in 2002.
This is after he's hit a home run off of me.
Okay.
What happened? Okay, so let's go back.
Well, okay, let's relive your highlights here.
No, what happened the day after I hit that home run off you?
I don't know.
He went on the injured list.
Exactly.
He was like, dude, I gave up a bomb to number 50. I'm out. I got to go on the shelf.
But I will tell you this. Trip Cromer took me deep too.
No kidding.
Yes, he took me deep. And each year, like the following year, they all came. They were like, hey, we're going to get this guy on our team.
This guy took Billy deep. We need him.
Yeah, we got this guy. I'm like, gosh, we keep getting these guys on. I may not have to give up any more home runs. We'll add his stats. We'll get all those guys on your team.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. So
the very next year, you guys were teammates?
Yeah, I get traded in spring training, and I come over, and I didn't know what a Southern accent was until I got traded to the Houston Astros. And the first couple of guys I meet are Billy Wagner and Roy Oswalt. And I think I went over to BA. I went over to Osmus, and I'm like, hey, man, do you guys have a translator in here? Because I don't understand a word either of these two guys just said.
What did they just say? Oh, yeah. That's
good stuff. All right, so we only have maybe one more out here with you. Tell us about Will. I know we were impressed with what we saw this spring. We're excited to see how he progressed. He had a little bit of an injury that cost him some time this year.
Yeah, he broke his hamate bone about 2 months ago. And, you don't wish injuries, but for every kid, for every player that goes through, you've got to learn how to play with an injury, and through something like this. And so this was one of those things that wasn't career threatening by any means, but it was a good time for him to figure out how he has to battle back and play in injury season, because you're still playing for a championship. And so, he's had that ability. He's gotten back. He's battled and done well. I'm excited. We hadn't seen him since March, so since I was down in spring training. So we're excited. I know Mama's excited. She's double packing, ready to get down there.
How about Maldi with his second hit of the night? Martin Maldonado, a two-out base hit.
You've obviously done a lot of coaching since you've been out of the game, and obviously you've got a son who is in the system. What particular advice do you have for some of those young, aspiring ball players in this day and age? Does a lot of that translate from when you played till now?
No, I really don't feel like it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of changed a little bit.
It has, and because of the metrics and things like that. But my advice is you're still playing to win. I mean, numbers will come by playing to win. If your sole goal and your purpose is to win, then your numbers will be there. But
oh my goodness!
Oh, high slider.
It's an interesting ball game to say the least.
Wow.
Got him right off the Craig Biggio.
There's another term.
There you go.
But it has changed with how people view players. It's more size oriented. The metrics have something to do with it. But I mean, the advice I give all kids, and I've had in the 12 years I've been at the Miller School out in Virginia, I've had 8 guys drafted.
Wow.
And so in that, I tell them the same thing I would tell anybody. It's like, if you'll play to win, you'll never worry about money, and you'll never worry about your stats, because that'll all come with it. I mean, there was never a game that I looked up and said, I've got to have these things to be successful. It was the game that I played that I worried about the most. And then, of course we all want numbers, but the numbers come with the winning. You can't be successful if you're not winning.
Bregman has a 2-0 count with 2 on and a 7-2 lead. And takes that one, gets that call 3-0. Of your 8 guys drafted, do they all go pro ball, or some end up going to school?
No, they're all there. I've got one in Toronto, one in Atlanta.
Wow.
The one in Toronto is in AAA. I've got one with the White Sox, a catcher in AAA. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. I've got them scattered now. It's good to think that I can't remember where everything is, because these guys really have done well. I've got a brother couple, one Adam Hackenberg, his brother Christian Hackenberg was the Jets quarterback. He's in AAA with the White Sox. His younger brother played Virginia Tech, got drafted in the 2nd round by the Braves. So, I mean, we've had a lot of success with guys going into college. But the goal that I tell them is to be ready for the next step. Not, I don't want to train you to be a big leaguer, because you can't be a big leaguer until you are a big leaguer. And so those are things you can't prepare for.
We talked about a lot of your contemporaries going into the Hall of Fame. A lot of your contemporaries are on the field now. Have you had any thoughts about joining a coaching staff?
I have thought. I'd really like to just kind of get back into kind of seeing some of the minor leagues and just and talking. It's not so much about really being a coach and stuff like that, as much as just really being somebody that can talk to the young guys about the game and the little things.
Billy, we always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you guys.
Billy Wagner, Astros legendary closer, back with more after this. Astros lead 7-2. That guy's having a huge night.
Next Friday, when the Astros take on the Seattle Mariners, 10,000 fans will go home with a Jose Altuve 90s throwback replica jersey courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. Get your tickets now at astros.com/promotions. Another special guest in the booth. We have legendary broadcaster Bill Brown. It has been a while since I've been able to do this. Brownie.
Sure, yeah. Good to talk with you again. Thank you. TK, what are you going to do?
Hi, Brownie. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit here for half an inning.
Okay.
We'll chat as a 3-man booth.
Okay.
And then I'm taking off. You're calling the game after.
Are you?
That. Are you?
Okay.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Am I in your seat?
No. That's your seat now, pal. You earned it.
30 years, Brownie.
Yes.
And I know that throughout those 30 years, you never loved having the spotlight shine on you. You wanted to be on the guys on the field. How are you handling things this weekend with the spotlight here with Bill Brown getting the Hall of Fame?
Not very well. No, we're just so honored, and everybody in the family is here together, and it's great.
Well, Mike Moustakas grounds one to John Singleton. John Singleton, last time he played here at Minute Maid Park as an Astro, you were calling the games. How about his night?
Yeah, this is so much fun to watch, and to see the power and to see somebody seizing the opportunity, Blummer.
Exactly.
And he is. So now we're already thinking ahead, which is the beauty of baseball. It's an everyday game. Okay, is he in the lineup tomorrow night?
I didn't even realize that, but the last time he played, you were calling the games.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
How cool is that?
And you just handed me a note, too, about that. He went 8 years and 13 days between Major League homers.
Longest homerless streak in the big league since Jake Peavy. Let's go look. Let's flash it back, Left Brownie.
Well, he's always had the power. And he was able to display some of that, but he had a low batting average. He had some problems adjusting to the major leagues, and maybe this now is just his time. It doesn't happen at a certain age for everybody.
That is so true, and it takes him growing up, too. He was in an interesting situation. We already talked about that 5-year contract, $10 million. Kind of had the weight of that following him around until he got to the big leagues. But he's done a lot of growing up in between then and now, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. But you've been watching a lot of this guy on the mound, too, and Justin Verlander in the opposing dugout. Now seeing him in this Astros uniform, what is that? How does that feel? What does it feel like watching him in this orange?
You know, it's going to feel special tonight because another win ties him with Bob Gibson.
Yep.
And CC Sabathia, 251
That's impressive.
wins. And so for those of us who were fortunate enough to see a little Gibson, that is speaking volumes.
Strikeout after the ground out. Here's Mickey Moniak. 2 outs, nobody on. Before I take off, Brownie, I want to ask you about going into the Hall of Fame with Bill Doran, because you were here your first year. Billy D was playing all 162 games. What about your reflections and going in with Billy Doran?
Well, this is just so great. It's unbelievable that it worked out this way. He was one of my favorites. And so that first spring training in '87, of course, I had watched him in the playoffs against the Mets in '86. Great series. Never had met him. We did an Astroline show together in Bob Green's condominium in Kissimmee.
Awesome.
Bob Green was our radio producer engineer.
You're going to have to hold this story with Blummer. I'm taking off.
All right.
Brownie,
He gone.
enjoy the rest of your time up here, and I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you, TK.
All right. 7-2 Astros. Brownie takes it away for the next inning.
What an evening so far. The Astros have unloaded 2 John Singleton homers. They lead it 7-2 over the Angels. Hi, everybody. Bill Brown, Jeff Blum. Where did TK go? He skated on us.
We don't need him.
All right. Here
We got Brownie.
Here we go with Kyle Tucker, strike one. All right, to finish that story from the top of the inning.
Yes, we need to.
So 1987 spring training. Billy Doran and I are doing an Astroline hour-long radio show. We get to the end. I was not very good at getting out on time, Blummer. And it's 1-1 from Rosenberg to Tucker. But this time, we got out on the second, and Billy gave me a high five.
Wow.
Now, you know, that had never happened.
Yeah.
From a player giving me a high five. So I really felt that I belonged with that.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
But that kind of explains the Billy Doran,
Yes,
who we all came to know and love because of the attitude, the hustle that guy brought to the ballpark. But at the same time, kind of a perfectionist, huh?
Yeah, but he's so much fun to be around now, too. And Tucker bounces on 2 hops. Drury over to first, 1 out for Rosenberg. But, you know, now as we sat tonight before the game and reminisced about some things and those clubs that he was on and how much fun it was in that clubhouse, well, that's the great thing about baseball through the eras, to recall things like that. I know you feel that way, too.
I absolutely do. And that's probably one of the things that's been cool about getting this job here, working with the Astros, because I had to watch those generations and those eras from afar. It was always, man, I wish my team had the Billy Dorans and the Alan Ashbys and some of these guys on it. But you were able to come over here and call these games and really kind of immerse yourself in there. And you've always been a huge advocate for the player, which I appreciate. Being a play-by-play guy, always treated all these players extremely well. But now watching these generation after generation and seeing how good it was makes us appreciate how good it is now, too.
Oh, and, you know, thinking back to the Astrodome days and then coming into this ballpark, all the energy that was there, all those 249 home runs that first year in this park, and we wondered, what do we have on our hands now? Is this going to be Wrigley Field South, or what do we have? And then very quickly the pitchers adjusted, and it's been pretty much a neutral offensive park ever since that first year here, right?
Yeah, I think Jose Lima back in the day might have argued that a little bit. The adjustment from the dome into Minute Maid Park. You got to see that firsthand.
Yeah. When he hit a homer, that was the beginning of the end. Line shot deep to left center field, and that one goes over the head of Randall Grichuk. Diaz into second. Yiner with the slide, and he has a double.
Brownie, this young man has been a revelation in this lineup for the Houston Astros. We heard all about the prospect status coming over in that trade from Cleveland in that Miles Straw trade, but he got a changeup elevated up out of the plate, hit a laser over the head of the left fielder Grichuk, and he finds himself in scoring position.
2 for 3 tonight for Yiner. In this 7-2 game, the Astros trying to blow it open here. Dubon has been on both times, and he scored both times. There's strike one to him, but you know, it's a great thing about weekends like this. We get a chance to delve into the past a little bit, compare it to the present, and this era is just blowing me away as a fan, though.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And with, you know, Reed Ryan and everybody starting out with that Hall of Fame alley out there and starting to put plaques up and really recognizing the greatness of this franchise, you almost want to fast forward, you know, another 10, 15 years and see who's going to be going in there from this generation, because all of these guys have had superlative careers, the championships, the All-Stars, the Cy Youngs, MVPs.
It's been quite an era. And, you know, we see full ballparks all the time. Little tapper to shortstop. Rengifo with the throw. He gets Dubon with Diaz moving over to third. 2 outs in the inning. But just when the fans come to the ballpark here, and we're now fans now.
Yes.
Diane and I come out, and it's to see, you know, Jordan, or now maybe to see Singleton. And here he is again. 2 homers tonight. 5 runs batted in. What a night.
And both home runs off the left-hander Reed Detmers. Now Rosenberg, the left-hander. Got to be careful right here.
And he drew that big pinch walk the other night in Baltimore too, Blummer.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I think I've noticed with John Singleton. Looking at his AAA numbers, those strikeout to walk ratio is very good for a power hitter like John Singleton, and that was a huge walk in that game.
Pop back softly, 1-1. Well, you know, Dana Brown has been talking about a left-handed bat in the days before the trade deadline, and who knew this was going to happen?
Well, it's one thing to have that left-handed bat, too. You know, Michael Brantley's still working back from his injury, but if you can have a threat, a left-handed bat threat coming off your bench for Dusty Baker, that makes this team a little more interesting as far as having that extra stick.
2 balls and a strike. Favorable count here with Pena on deck. The Astros have 9 hits to the Halos 3. It's 3-1. I saw the Angels when they were an expansion club in '61.
Okay.
Does that take you back a little bit?
A little bit further than I'm accustomed to.
Oh, man. And there's a strike to make it 3-2. They were playing in Washington, D.C. against the Washington Senators. And they had Albie Pearson as one of the outfielders. They called him the littlest angel. He was about Jose Altuve's size.
Wow.
But he could hit. And then down through the years, you know, you think of how they progressed. They've only won 1 World Series, 2002.
Yep.
But all the great players they've had, you know,
oh my,
that era when they had Nolan Ryan and Frank Tanana on the pitching staff, that was something. That's a walk, and Singleton continues to keep his perfect night alive. 2 on, 2 out for Pena now. 5 walks, 4 Angel pitching.
Brownie, how does it feel to be back with the headset on?
You know, it feels a little weird, I'll be honest.
Does it?
Yeah.
Because it feels natural to me.
Well, it doesn't feel natural for me, but what's great is getting back together with you again, because we worked together when this team was not winning too many games.
Yes. Those were interesting times. I'm kind of grateful for it because I was able to learn, to grow a little bit.
Pena to left, Grichuk on the run, and it bounces off the wall. 1 run home. Diaz scoring, and it's an RBI double for Pena. 42nd RBI for JP.
You see Jeremy Pena contributing Had some flashes of brilliance on that road trip, but right here, another changeup from Rosenberg gets hit hard. That's the same pitch that Yainer Diaz hit for a double, and this changeup gets hit for a double down the left field line off the Manual scoreboard for an RBI.
6-run lead, 8-2. Maldonado's been a big part of it. 2 for 2 tonight out of the number 9 slot. Rangers have a series in San Francisco this weekend. That'll be interesting to watch on the scoreboard. There's strike one.
Yeah, it would be nice if the Rangers could just have a brief enough hiccup to allow the Astros to creep back into the lead or at least tie for it, make things interesting.
Could be a big weekend that way.
Yeah, I would imagine Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Rangers now, is going to get a pretty nice welcome back in San Francisco for all his work.
You know that. Well, what I like especially, I think a lot of the fans are talking about this too, Blummer, is there's so many teams in contention right now. Giants right in the thick of it in the NL West are for a wild card team, and Rangers trying to hang on, and this 2-team race here, well, we shouldn't really limit it to 2 because Seattle's in the thick of it too in the AL West.
Yeah, they've been playing extremely well, just kind of in that rearview mirror.
That one will sneak through into left center field. And 2 runs are going to score to make it 10-2 Astros. Maldonado 3 for 3, 22 runs batted in.
Maldi contributing 3 base hits now. Kind of gets around that changeup again. The changeup of Rosenberg has been getting hit around, and now it produces 2 runs on that base hit off the bat of Martin Maldonado, having himself a night. All this expectation on Justin Verlander's first start back from being traded from the Mets to the Astros. The offense is stealing his thunder.
Especially the bottom 3 in the lineup. 7 for 8, 8 runs batted in, 2 homers and a double. Altuve has been on all 3 times. Ball 1. That's one of those nights that feels really good in the clubhouse afterwards because everybody's been a part of it, right?
You're exactly right. When you can all look down the line and realize that everybody's contributed. I know that Jordan and Kyle Tucker are looking forward to contributing also, but at the same time, you got to have nights like this as an offense. And JV didn't get the run support last start in New York.
Good point. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, if the Astros can hit, turn it up a notch from where they have been the first 100 games or so, it is going to be really fascinating from here on out.
Yeah, it really could. We've already seen the benefit of having Altuve and Alvarez back in the lineup at the same time.
Altuve takes a close one, and he's out in front, 3-0 in the count.
How about what Altuve's done since the time you saw him come into the league?
Yeah, he's getting a resurgence right now, I think. And he takes a 4-pitch walk. He's on for the 4th straight time in this game. But, you know, I mean, last year was kind of tough physically for him. And this year now, after the broken thumb in the WBC and some other issues, he's now put together a really good, strong physical stretch that makes you think back maybe 5-6 years, right?
Exactly, because that's one of the things that made Altuve so good is the infield base hit, scoring from second, going first to third, really using his legs. And I agree with you in the sense that missing maybe a large portion of this season has helped him down the stretch because he's been so fresh as far as the legs are concerned. But he's getting real close to those 2,000 hits.
Oh, that's going to be something for you and TK. He's only 11 hits away now. Bregman has an RBI, a couple of walks in this game. There is strike 1. You know, we were talking earlier about that 86 club with Billy Doran and his teammates. They really had a very strong second half that year, and that is so great going into the playoffs with that kind of momentum. There's the out at second base for the force play on Altuve, going from Moustakas to Drury. So another 3-run frame. Is TK going to come back in here?
I'd lock the door. We're good.
Well, thanks, folks. Thanks for watching. Be right back in a moment.
Toyota. Let's go back to 1986, August 11th. And one of our booth mates, Alan Ashby, with a big swing down the right field line off of Ken Howell, ends it as the Astros defeat those Dodgers 7-6. They scored 4 in the 8th and 9th innings to come back and win that ball game, and that's part of that second half surge you were talking about in 1986 right there, Brownie.
Yeah, just such a shame they didn't make it to the World Series. TK's not coming back, so we go to the 5th inning with Hunter Renfroe. He's 0 for 1. 10-2 Astros. And Verlander spins up a curveball for strike 1. Even though his strikeout rate hasn't been this year what it has in the past, he's effective.
He's very effective, and I love the competitiveness that Justin Verlander can bring to it. And he's a guy that's going to pitch no matter what that scoreboard says. He's going to go out there and compete as if it's tied up 0-0. And that's part of what you enjoy about him.
We were talking earlier about great pitchers we've seen. Who would it be for you? Somebody like Pedro Martinez, maybe?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was an era. It was Pedro Martinez. I actually had some pretty competitive at-bats against, but Kevin Brown, and I hate to bring that up because 1998.
Yep.
But Kevin Brown was one of the nastiest pitchers I've ever seen in my life, and then Randy Johnson's right there with him, too.
Absolutely. Strikeout number 6 for JV. That year the Astros traded for the big unit, 98. He was just crazy. People would go down in the bullpen to watch him warm up before a game.
Well, tell us about that, because we've shown highlights talking about that trade, but the dome was absolutely packed.
It was an event. And then one time he faced Mark McGwire, and a home run chase that McGwire had going. That was electric. But I remember when the Astros traded for the big unit, we were in Pittsburgh, and it was a late night deal. And so the bus the next day, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there was one player riding the bus, Moises Alou. And he usually did. Grounded by Grichuk. And Pena takes care of out number 2. And when Mo got on that bus, you know, we had all been buzzing about, hey, the big unit's coming.
Yeah.
And Mo did not know about the trade. He said, what? We got the big unit? Wow.
I would imagine, yeah.
It was fun to
Talk
watch.
about a pleasant surprise.
His expression.
That completely shifted the dynamic of that 98 season.
It did. It did. And that team was so good. Chad Wallach, the batter. But then, you know, the postseason can produce very surprising results, and that's what happened with the Padres beating the Astros that year. Wallach had a triple earlier. Is TK going to come back?
I think it's entirely up to you. I'll get the keys if you need them.
1 ball and 1 strike. Well, before it's time for me to slide out of here, my enduring thanks for all the people who have watched and listened to Astros baseball down through the years. You've really made it work for us. And God bless all of you in all of your pursuits, not just baseball, but, you know, we've seen this throughout the city of Houston, the way people pull together to do this, that, and the other thing. And Houston's become such a major sports destination now, the World Cup, soccer, and all these other things. So it is a wonderful place to live. And that's one thing that Diane and I learned right after we moved to Houston. She and our daughter Allison were in a terrible car wreck, and just the way people turned out to help them was an eye-opener for us. And we will never forget that. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And we all have our own little reasons, right?
We do. And a lot of the reason I'm sitting here is because of the help and nurturing of you and Alan Ashby for my career, so I greatly appreciate you. And obviously the friendship that started as a player and finished as a broadcaster will always continue off the field. Thank you for being in here, Brownie.
Thank you, Blummer, and thanks be to God for this night. Folks, enjoy the rest of the game. Todd Callis will be right back.
Balls on Kyle Tucker and what he's done recently. We all remember the go-ahead grand slam from a couple of nights ago, one of the biggest swings, but he has been swinging the bat well for what's almost a third of the season. His last 50 games, this is going back to June. 330 average, OPSing 1,000, lots of home runs, lots of RBI. He sits at 84 and counting. TK?
Julia, how much fun was that to be able to toss to Brownie?
That was awesome. Good to hear from him. I didn't get to tell him, and Blummer kind of said it, but Brownie was just so huge in my career as well. He was just so welcoming from day one. I didn't know what the heck I was doing like Blummer. I mean, Blummer, you did, but...
Not really. It's
a
okay
lot
to be
of
honest.
learning. No, it was a lot of learning, and we leaned on him, and he brought us in, and he brought us into the conversation, and he let our voices be heard at a time where we were trying to figure ourselves out as broadcasters. So I owe a lot to him. That was a lot of fun.
That was so good. Honestly, if they didn't want me to come back, I would have been like everybody else listening at home, very happy to listen to Brownie for the rest of this game. He was awesome for that one inning. It just brings back memories of all those years he was in the booth.
It does. And, like a lot of people we hang around here, I mean, he is a true Astro historian, but he was able to document it with his voice. And I think that's what makes Brownie so special. And there's just like you, there's a certain rhythm, there's a certain cadence, there's a certain tone that you just kind of go with. And I bet for a lot of people back home that all of a sudden they flip that clock back to whatever generation they were watching of Astros baseball, and they were right in the middle of it again.
Man, if it wasn't for these two lefties in the middle of the lineup, this Astros offense would be good.
Honestly.
10-2 game without Jordan and Tuck doing anything. Oh, look at this. Oh,
hey,
this
man.
is awesome. Stream every out-of-market game live or on demand, now available at a new low price for the season, starting at $59.99. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. I love it.
They went into the archives for that.
Oh, so good.
That was outstanding.
It's so good to hear Brownie. So good that he's being honored here tomorrow. He is a Hall of Famer. He should be a Ford C. Frick Award winner to be in the National Hall of Fame, but he never, ever wanted any spotlight on him. He was one of those guys that was very humble, did his job, and spent 30 years.
Look at those kicks.
He looked way too comfortable taping that.
Oh, that was so good.
You know what, though? He spent so much time not being in the spotlight covering the sport that he deserves to be in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's on the committee, y'all, and he was still surprised, that he's heard conversations and all that of who's going in. Obviously, he's in the room, but he was shocked, and then he was like, I don't deserve to be there. I don't deserve this. That's who he is, though. I mean, he's humble, and he absolutely does, but that's exactly who he is.
Yeah, I love hearing the stories of when you guys first started, how gracious he was, because, and we can talk about this another inning, but that doesn't always happen for young broadcasters. So good for you guys to have Bill Brown in the booth when you first started. Strikeout of Yainer Diaz as Rosenberg comes back with a strong fifth. By Saltese Beer Salt Strips. Peel it, stick it, lick it. Shop Saltese.com. By Frontier, save 25% off summer energy charges with a Frontier Summer Saver Plan. And by Budweiser Zero, you can't drive drunk if you don't drive there. A reminder from your friends at Silver Eagle Distributors, Houston. How did Brownie not do those billboards?
That would have been special.
10-2 game as we head to the sixth. Luis Rengifo takes a pitch from Verlander and takes a called strike, 0-1. Now, but going back to what we were saying at the end of the bottom half of the fifth inning, for you guys to break in the major leagues, it's always daunting, and for Brownie to kind of be your mentor, obviously Ash too. That's quite a combo that you guys broke in with.
Well, and it of course is going to be different for Julia than it was me, because I wasn't the professional. I was the player that moved into the seat, and if it wasn't for Brownie, creating the opportunity for me to even interview for the job was one thing, but then to sit there and have the relationship I had with Alan Ashby as when he was on radio, and then have that relationship with JD and Brownie at the same time, made it a little bit more comfortable for me. But at the same time, having no clue what to do once I put the headset on, you guys are under a lot of pressure to put us in good positions to succeed. You're kind of the manager of our crew, and he did a wonderful job of getting me in position to have answers or be ready to answer the appropriate things. And he just kind of nurtured me along, and it was a great thing.
I would say he was really good at setting me up for success, and like Blummer's saying, TK, you obviously do an excellent job at that as well, but that was really important for me as someone who was coming over to live events, calling baseball games for the very first time like we were. And that was huge. But you know what else Brownie was great for? Great restaurant recommendations for me on the road those first few years. Great running spots. He was a big runner. So every city that we went to was my first time to go, right? All these road trips. And he would help me in the biggest way.
Luis Rengifo leads off with a single here in the sixth inning. That is hit number 4 for the Angels. Rengifo has 2 of those 4 hits. Verlander started the inning with 75 pitches. So yeah, when Brownie retired in 2016, that season towards the end, I was working for Tampa Bay at the time, and I came into town, and Brownie's like, hey, buddy, I think this is probably going to be my last year. They haven't made anything official, but you might want to start to get your stuff ready. I know you've been looking for a play-by-play job. Just a heads up. And he didn't have to do that. I was one of a number of guys he could have talked to over the course of the year, but he gave me that heads up, and sure enough, here we are 7 years later working together. But then when we first moved into Houston, as Shohei Ohtani bats, and he singles into center field. So it'll be first and second for the Angels with a couple of hits here in the 6th inning. When we first moved to Houston, even though I was born here, I left when I was 5. I didn't know many people in the area. My wife had never been in Houston before. So of the first 10 games of the season, my wife, Michelle, sat with Brownie in the stands for like 5 of those 10 games.
How about that?
And Brownie's teaching her about who the players are, the history of the stadium, the history of the team. Like Julia said, what restaurants to go to in Houston. And at one point she goes, I think Brownie's my best friend in Houston.
And that happens quick, and it's easy because Brownie's so likable and wants to help so much.
He's also a big goofball.
He is. You're right.
As professional as he was, and that voice, he just had a way of being funny.
So tell us, because people don't know the goofball side.
I mean, they saw a little bit of it on the air, I think. It was his way, but you kind of had to understand his humor in order to get it, I think, right, Blummer? He was good for a zinger every once in a while.
No, he has such a dry, delivery in it that if you're not paying attention, he'll zing you, and you're like, what? You kind of like get kicked on your heels, and I got to go and talk back and ask my producer, did he just say what I think he said? And so you got to really stay with him. But towards the end of his career, we went on a trip. Man, that's 3 base hits in a row now.
Yeah, this one's going to score a run. Possibly Jordan's throw is going to be a little bit late. And to score Rengifo, that makes it a 10-3 game, 3 consecutive singles.
But all I'd ever known of Brownie is being, just reserved, when he spoke and, when necessary, he never kind of like surprised you, speaking out of turn, I guess. But there was a moment towards the end of his career where he said, I'm not going to travel anymore, but he chose a trip to go on. He wanted to go to Minnesota because he had family there. So we go to Minnesota, and the next stop is Toronto, but we're in Minnesota. We get rained out. So he has to call a doubleheader. And this is pre-COVID rules, so it's a legit 9-inning game. And those 2 games must have combined for about 7 hours of baseball. And keep in mind, Brownie was the most, he was just immaculate on his desk. He had note cards, he had game notes, he had a scorecard, everything had a place. And I remember I beat him to the yard in Toronto because it was a getaway day 2 on the doubleheader. I beat him to the yard, first time in my career in Toronto. And I'm sitting there and I'm getting things done and I'm getting ready, and I'm like, man, Brownie must have taken the late bus. Good for him.
This ball playable for Dubon.
And Shohei's going to tag up and go to third. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because there's no door on that booth in Toronto, and it's massive. It's the biggest booth on the road. And he, all of a sudden, that booming voice, I've got my head down, I'm doing my thing, and I hear this, that's it? I'm done. I'm not. Goes into this, network news, like, rant of how he's never traveling again because he just had the worst road trip of his life. And I swear to you, the bag came out and just papers went poof everywhere. And I literally have a picture on my phone of his desk from that game because I was so astonished at what a yard sale his desk was. But he came in and was just like, that's it. I'm done.
Oh, that's so good.
Of course, he had to go through customs after a doubleheader travel night. I mean, it was everything that could have gone wrong.
Perfect storm.
Yes.
C.J. Cron breaks his bat on that foul ball. Cron hit a home run his first time up, struck out his second time. It's now a 10-3 game as Verlander has allowed 3 of his 6 hits in this inning. And the Astros have their bullpen going for the first time. That's Kendall Graveman warming up here in the 6th. Verlander at 90 pitches tonight. JV has gone plenty of times this year over 100, but I'm sure Dusty would like to see him get through the 6th inning, and then maybe that'll be enough tonight for JV with this 10-3 game. Swing and a miss. He's gotten prone back-to-back at bats after allowing that home run in his first time up. That's 7 strikeouts for Verlander, 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, it's good to see that swing and miss coming back for him. Only 4 strikeouts in that Yankee game, but worked 7 innings in that game. But here, the elevated fastball still working very effectively for him.
His game high this season is an 8 strikeout game against the Blue Jays on June 2nd with the Mets. 7 ties the second most. He's done that 3 times this year. Mickey Moniak has struck out twice against Verlander. Moniak, young outfielder, facing JV for the first time in his career. Hits that ball high and deep but foul. And it'll be 1-1. Astros scoring 10 runs in the span of 3 innings, 5 in the second, 2 in the third, 3 more in the fourth. Giving Verlander a lot of offense after only scoring 1 run for him in his last start against the Yankees. Ohtani on third, Drury on first with 2 outs. Just a little bit up, 2-1. Been a pretty good zone today for Alfonso Marquez. That one's popped up. Who wants it? It's near the mound. It's going to be Bregman. No, Pena will call off Alex and make the catch for the final out of the inning. So after 3 straight hits, Verlander, in what might be his final inning, gets the final 3 batters and walks off leading 10-3.
Report presented by Jack in the Box. The Astros welcome back John Singleton on Tuesday, first game of that Orioles series. We saw him in that first plate appearance, though, draw a walk against the Orioles closer, and he told me in that first day back, I'm feeling really good at the plate. In fact, I haven't felt this good in a really, really long time. So to be able to put it all together and get the call to go up to the majors was just really great for him. He's in at first base for Jose Abreu. And guys, a quick update on Abreu, who was looked at by team doctors earlier today when Dusty was speaking to the media. His lower back acting up. He's been playing through it. MRI was done already, didn't appear to be too serious, so they are hoping he doesn't need to go on the IL. But Dusty did say that's why Singleton's here, and he's going to give guys days off. But these home runs certainly help, I'm sure. I can't wait to hear Dusty after the game on that.
Yeah, almost in the exact same spot.
Yeah, that was uncanny.
And almost the same launch angle and everything. John Singleton with 2 home runs tonight, 8 years and 13 days apart on home runs in his big league career. That is the longest streak for a position player without a home run since Rafael Belliard went 10 years and 147 days. That was from 87 to 97 for Rafael. For John, his last home run came July 29th of 15. Mauricio Dubon hits this one to center field. Moniak will make the play. And that's the first out of the inning.
And it is time for our Miller Lite moment. And there he is, John Singleton. Got a 2-seamer running in, and he obliterated it up into that second deck. And then guess what? Did it again. Almost a mirror image of that previous home run. So a multi-home run game for big John Singleton. A couple of tanks into the upper tank.
Facing the lefty Kenny Rosenberg for the second time. He walked against Rosenberg last time after hitting those 2 home runs against Reed Detmers. Detmers would be lifted after the second home run. Singleton tries to hold up and does. 2-0 the count. John had big numbers going at the minor leagues this year, combining for 22 home runs between AAA Nashville, the Brewers AAA affiliate, and the Sugarland Space Cowboys for the Astros. 22 home runs in 82 games. Hit 12 home runs for Sugarland. How about that?
Wow.
Rosenberg with his back to the plate catches that ball between his legs. We've seen a little bit of everything tonight. That's the only way Singleton can be retired.
Yeah, what is this wizardry? Ball not hit hard. And that quick adjustment by Rosenberg just puts his backside towards the baseball and guessed right.
Here's Jeremy Pena. Rosenberg's now retired 6 in a row after struggling in his first full inning of work. Pena's been on base twice. Jeremy has an RBI double. He also has a single, 2 runs scored. And JP with a 3-hit game. Pena had a 3-hit game on the road trip, but now has his 6th 3-hit game of the season. This week on Astros Bases Loaded, the champs are honored with a visit to the White House. We'll check in on first-round pick Bryce Matthews. And John Singleton talks about his long journey back to the big leagues. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded after tonight's postgame show. Here's Martin Maldonado having a night. Maldi 3 for 3, driving in 2 in his last at bat with a single with 2 runners on.
Yeah, this bottom half of the lineup for the Astros has been destroying baseballs and scoring runs.
Maldi has his 2nd 3-hit game of the season. His career high, which he's done 3 times, is a 4-hit game. Most recently last year, September, against Oakland here at Minute Maid Park. Down to the count here, 0-2. Reed Detmers lasted 2 1/3 innings. Rosenberg's been out there ever since. Rosenberg made his big league debut right here at this stadium last April on the 18th. Went an inning out of the bullpen, gave up a run on a couple of hits in his major league debut coming against the Astros. That one bounces, but not far enough for Pena to advance. Looks like Justin Verlander's night is over as Kendall Graveman continues to warm up. Graveman will have the 7th inning. Verlander will go 6 innings tonight, allow 3 runs, and struck out 7, 1 off his season high. And 2nd straight start for the Astros without a walk. Hunter Brown didn't walk anybody last night. Maldi gets retired for the first time in this game as Rosenberg picks up a strikeout to end the 6th. All Astros 10-3.
Astros cornhole bags. This Sunday, 10,000 fans will receive a set of Astros cornhole bags courtesy of Evolve. To purchase tickets, go to astros.com/promotions. JV's night is done. Going 6 strong for the Astros. He's going to give way to Kendall Graveman. He's going to be our Crawford Bach call to the bullpen. Still getting adjusted to the clean shave and Kendall Graveman. 49 games between the White Sox and Astros. Has a 3.54 ERA. 46 strikeouts in that 48 1/3. He was looking for that pitch comm device to put on his glove. There's JV. Talking to Josh Miller about grip.
Nice little quality start for him in his 500th career start.
Yeah, it was. It was probably really nice for him to watch the run total go up for him. Hasn't gotten much run support in the past with the Astros, but today a big offensive output gives him hopefully an easy W.
And he was pitching to contact. You know, he gave up 3 hits.
Well, at the same time, still striking out 7. So, I mean, he was very good with the stuff he had today.
I should say he was filling up the strike zone. Knowing he had a big lead, he's a veteran. He knows he can't afford any free passes. Hunter Brown and the Astros pitching staff yesterday did not walk anybody in that final game against Baltimore.
Kind of had to after that previous game.
The last getaway day?
No, that last getaway day game, and then all the pitches thrown out of the zone in that second game in that Baltimore series. Oof.
JV still hanging around, watching on as Kendall Graveman takes over here in the 7th. So welcome back, JV. We're in the Astros orange again. Hadn't seen him here at a home game since 2022 World Series Game 1. As Renfroe goes after that pitch, it's 2-2. Chatting with pitching coach Josh Miller and first base coach Omar Lopez. That one's up 3-2. 7, 8, and 9 to face Graveman here. Kendall pitched in that middle game of the 3-game set against the Orioles. And that is up, ball 4. So that breaks a string. The Astros had gone 16 innings without a walk, going all the way back to the 8th inning of the game on Wednesday night. Let's check out the T-Mobile coverage cam. Career start number 500 for Justin Verlander, and he was very good tonight against this Angels offense, allowing just 3 runs on 6 hits and 6 innings of work. Did not walk anybody, struck out 7, had a big lead to work with. Gave up single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th inning as he looks to pick up his 251st career win. Randall Grichuk fouls one back. It's 0-2. Found out something interesting about Randall Grichuk before the game.
Really did, and you know, timing is everything. And I happened to be coming up the tunnel, going to the press elevator as I know now, Randall Grichuk's family was coming down the tunnel, and we just happened to cross paths. And Randall Grichuk's father kind of pulled me off the side. He goes, "Blummer." I said, "Yeah, hey." Obviously, they still live in town because Grichuk grew up in Rosenberg, Texas, just down the street here from the stadium, and he was a part of that Little League team. I imagine back in the middle 2000s or late 2008, 9, 10, around that time. And they were at the ballpark celebrating their trip to the Little League World Series. And I happened to have a broken bat apparently and kind of slid it on top of the dugout. And the guy who got the bat, Randall Grichuk.
As a kid,
as a 12-year-old in Little League, Randall Grichuk boxed out all of his teammates to grab my broken bat.
How cool is that?
And his dad was telling this story with so much enthusiasm, it really did a number for my ego.
I love it.
I was stoked about that, so it's kind of cool to be connected to a guy like Randall Grichuk, Texas legend out there in Rosenberg.
Now you got to go talk to him about it.
I do, seriously, because I'm going to be like, did your dad pull one on me, or did this really happen?
Grichuk, who went to Lamar Consolidated, goes down on strikes here. That's the first strikeout for Graveman, and 1 out here in the 7th. Well, Blummer, since August has started, the AL West has the 3 best bullpens in the major leagues.
Yeah, it's kind of good to see that Astros bullpen bounce back. Did have their issues in a little bit of June, a little bit of July, but they're coming around nicely at the right time, too. Might be a little bit of credit to some of the starting pitching getting a little bit deeper in some of these games.
One thing I loved about the inning with Brownie is how much he still follows the game.
He does, doesn't he?
I love it.
Yep.
He is dialed in. He knows what's going on in the division races around the league, what's happening. And the other, I mean, the fact that he lived 30 years of Astros history, like I can dive into the media guide, I can jump on stories on the web, and I can never know what it was like to be there. Some of those stories he talked about, the units trade, and you know what people.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
because all we've seen is video of that.
Right.
And he was calling those games
and saw the reaction of guys coming off, you know, in the bus after the game, and that's such good stuff. We love having Brownie in the booth. We probably don't take advantage enough when he's around of having him in here, but we loved having him in here tonight. That was awesome.
He's always welcome. He knows that.
I think Astros fans universally were hoping that I would miss the rest of the game. 2-2 the count to Chad Wallach.
But that's the other thing about Brownie. You could leave that door wide open and say, "Bill, come in anytime you want." He never would, because he is so appreciative of his time, but he's also appreciative of ours.
I do remember asking him as Chad Wallach bats with a 2-2 count, and Graveman back-to-back strikeouts, both swinging. I do remember asking him. Catch up in just a minute. Now a word from Gallery Furniture.
Fast, easy, convenient. Gallery Furniture delivers your made in America furniture free today.
I do remember asking him about maybe 3 or 4 years into this run that I've had with you guys, whether, you know, golden era of Astros baseball, does he feel like he should have stuck around for a couple more years? Does he regret?
That's a serious question.
And he said unequivocally that he was very happy that he called his retirement after the 2016 team, having nothing to do with what happened in 2017 and beyond, but he just felt like he wanted to spend that time with his family, soak in life, take some pictures, travel. He's gone on some Alaskan cruises, which you can't do if you work in baseball.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of things during the summer you can't do.
So he said he has not looked back one day. So good for him. I, fortunately enough, was able to step in at a good time here and parachuted in during this little run the Astros have been on. 10-3 game here. Nice inning by Graveman after the initial walk.
H-E-B, Jose Altuve. Doing Altuve type things. Last 13 games, including tonight. Batting a modest .431. His OPS is .1222. What's great about this, helping that OPS, obviously the slug is going to help, but 8 walks in those 13 games. And how about when he gets on base? I was talking to Bill Brown about how fresh those legs are for Jose Altuve after having some time off with injury, and he's got 6 steals in 13 games.
That's a great sign. Here he is. He was on base 4 times in the first 4 innings. Single, walk, hit by pitch, and walk. And Altuve goes after the first pitch. Kenny Rosenberg's still in there. He's already gone 3 2/3 innings in this game. Longest relief appearance by an Angel reliever this year has been 4 innings back on April 1st. Tucker Davidson going 4. So the bullpen for the Angels has been quiet since Rosenberg has been in the game. Altuve sends one to left, and that will be played on a line by Randall Grichuk. 1 away here in the 7th. We'll get a pinch hitter for Alex Bregman. Bregman's night is over. Alex ends up reaching twice on a walk and reaching twice on a fielder's choice. One of them was an RBI. Gray Kessinger will pinch hit for Bregman, and he'll take over at third base. Chaz McCormick will hit for Yordan Alvarez. He's on deck. So Yordan and Breggy will have the rest of the night off. That one's down for a ball, 1-0. Astros sent 9 men to the plate in the second, 8 men to the plate in the third, and 8 men to the plate in the fourth. 25 batters in a 3-inning span. 12 of those against Reed Detmers and the other 13 against Rosenberg, who gave up all his runs in the 4th inning. He has settled in since that 4th and retired 8 of the last 9 batters. 1-2 the count to Gray. Kessinger has 6 hits and 30 at-bats this year, including his first major league home run. And that'll be a called third strike. And a strikeout number 4 for Rosenberg and 2 outs in the inning. Time now to name that Astro, powered by Reliant. Here are today's clues. A first in Space City, notable Hall of Famer. No sleep till Brooklyn. If you know who that is, go ahead to @ATT Sportsnet SW. Tonight's Name That Astro, powered by Reliant. Here's Chaz. Fans who have enjoyed their Friday night with a 10-3 lead now get to do the Chaz Chomp with 2 outs and nobody on in the 7th.
Chaz borrowed Kendall Graveman's razor.
What?
Yeah.
Chaz is clean?
It's an epidemic.
What is going on with all these guys shaving?
I don't know.
He had a 169 WRC plus before the shave. Chaz, how about Chaz? Right off the bench. Didn't kill the ball, but he ends up with a base hit. Pinch hit single for Chazzy Fizz.
It's got to feel good for Chaz. Just a little punch shot off the hands out there into center field.
Now we'll see our third straight pinch hitter, and probably the final move for Dusty tonight on terms of the offense, with Jose Abreu being the only other one left on the bench. Jake Myers pinch hitting for Kyle Tucker. So Bregman, Alvarez, and Tucker's nights are over, and so is the bottom half of the 7th as Myers pops up to end the inning. We head to the 8th. It's 10-3.
Our Chevy stroke hole. We wanted you to choose your ultimate. Astros pitching 1-2 punch. And 54% are going to go with the Nolan Ryan, Roy Oswalt duo. It's pretty good. Thanks for the votes. See you.
All right, Julia, thank you. We go to the 8th. Nobody voted for D. Here's Rafael Montero.
Denied. Rafael Montero getting in on the action. 46 games this season. He has a 5.81 ERA. He had an opportunity out there in Baltimore on the 9th. Went an inning, gave up a hit, had a couple of strikeouts in that outing. Getting him to 53 strikeouts in 48 innings.
So Montero will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitter, Shohei Ohtani leading off. Astros will not face Ohtani as a pitcher in this series as he pitched the game on Wednesday. Angels had the off day yesterday. But he would be slated to pitch in the next series, which is good news for Astros fans because he's pitching against the Texas Rangers. This is a big trip for the Angels. 3 here in Houston, 3 in Arlington. 6 games against 2 teams that they are chasing in their division. Angels coming in with a record of 500. They have been at 500 15 different times this year, including starting play tonight. Montero picks up a strike on Ohtani. It's 1-2. Rangers are in San Fran tonight, just underway against the Giants.
Was that game delayed for the Bruce Bochy Love Fest?
Oh, that's right. Boch's return.
Yep.
It's John Gray against Scott Alexander in that one. Team the Astros just played, the Baltimore Orioles, had to travel out to Seattle after the game yesterday. They're playing the Mariners, who have the longest current active winning streak in the majors. The Mariners have won 7 in a row. That's a called strike at the bottom of the zone. Could have gone either way. Shohei felt he had drawn the walk. That was close enough for Alfonso Marquez for the strikeout.
This Sunday's game against the Angels is another Los Astros game on AT&T Sportsnet 2. Our telecast will be on the main AT&T Sportsnet channel with the Spanish telecast on AT&T Sportsnet 2. Check your local listing for your channel location.
Mariners are leading that game early against Baltimore 2-0 on a Cal Raleigh home run. Here's Brandon Drury. Drury 1 for 3, knocked in the 3rd run of the night for the Angels. Angels got a run in the 2nd against Justin Verlander, a run in the 3rd, and then that final run with 3 consecutive hits to begin the 6th inning. Once Verlander got that 5 spot in the 2nd inning, you felt pretty good about your chances with JV on the mound, looking to get win number 251. And you heard Brownie mention the company he would join. It includes Bob Gibson, CC Sabathia, and Al Spalding with 251 wins, tied for 46th all-time in Major League history. Spalding, I don't know because he pitched in the 1870s, but those other 2 are nice names to be joining on your all-time wins list.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Al Spalding will never be as famous as Caddyshack Spalding.
No, never.
Spalding got nothing and liked it.
No, he didn't like it. That one's wide, 3-2. 2nd straight full count for Montero coming out of the bullpen. Rafael doesn't like that baseball. Get a new one. Whole new defensive alignment in the outfield for the Astros after those pinch hit appearances. So Dubon, who was in center field, now is in the left. Jake Myers is in center, and Chaz McCormick is in right. And Gray Kessinger is your new 3rd baseman. Astros getting Bregman, Tucker and Alvarez off their feet. We're in the span of 9 straight games in 22 out of 23 days, so not a bad idea with a 10-3 lead. That one popped up. John Singleton backs up. Coming on, Chas McCormick, who wants it. It's going to be Singleton who stays with it and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. Now a word from Coors Light.
Houston fans, Coors Light is keeping Texas chill all season long. The world's most refreshing beer is made to chill.
By the way, I'm looking at Al Spalding's numbers on Baseball Reference.
Yep.
I'm not going to count him.
Okay, good.
Because those are the 1870s. They played with different rules. I don't even know if they played with a baseball back then.
Yeah, but did they have a pitch clock?
They did not have a pitch clock, but he had seasons, Blummer. Of his age 21 season, he won 38 games.
What?
38 games he won at age 21. Then he followed that up with a 41-win season.
Come on.
Then he followed that up with a 52-win season. He won
Hey, he's getting better.
52
he just got
games.
better.
In 1874.
It's kind of greedy.
He won 52 games by himself. And then his best year ever, 1875, 54-5.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Come on.
72 games started. I'm sorry, 62 games started. 570 innings after he threw 600.
570 innings.
Yeah, after he threw 617 the year before.
That's a career for some guys.
That's why I'm not counting him.
Yeah.
Good for Al
Kick him
Spalding.
out.
Good for Al and his family. But yeah,
Whatever.
I'm counting Sabathia and Gibson.
Yes.
You can't get 251 wins in 7 years. That's impossible. Right?
Are you kidding me?
That's what he did.
Did he win a Cy Young?
They didn't. Cy was born. Or he's born, but he wasn't Cy Young then.
Who won Pitcher of the Year?
In the 1870s, I don't know what they
let's
called
go.
it. Yeah. How about Pena off balance? That's a nice little play by Jeremy. Rafael Montero, 1-2-3 eighth. Middle of the eighth we go. 10-3 Astros.
So welcoming to new guys coming in, great culture. Here's an example of it. Watch them enjoy the Singleton home runs. This dugout reaction kind of says it all. They are fired up for John Singleton. Yordan Alvarez is saying, okay, I see you singing. Oh, it's hard not to root for him, this club. They're fun in their 2 game.
Julia, do you remember the last walk-off you did with John Singleton?
Oh, man. I don't know if I remember the last one, but I will tell you a picture popped up on my phone. You know how your phone will remind you of on this day? Yep. 9 years ago, I was doing a walk-off interview with him.
That's amazing.
Just a couple of days ago. And the next day he got called up. It was just one of those crazy moments, taking me back. This whole game is, I'm not going to lie, Brownie in the booth, Verlander on the mound, Singleton at first.
Taking you
Where
back.
am
I love Yordan's reaction because
everybody's pumped for him.
And Yordan's saying, this guy.
He is
Yeah,
impressed.
got some competition.
This guy could put him up in the upper reaches like I do.
Yeah, it's
Let's
either that
go.
or he said, that's cute. I went up into the 3rd deck. But, man, it's good to see everybody happy for John.
Yeah, I assume, I don't want to put pressure on Julia, but I assume that's who we're going to hear from here in a little while.
I would imagine John Singleton's already going through the interview in his head to give Julia the right answers.
No, when he walked out of the dugout a couple days ago, he's like, oh, you're still here. There was no excitement either. Like, oh, you're still
Just
doing it.
flatlined you?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's
man.
that's his way. I mean, he is so chill.
No reunion. Like, hey, I haven't seen you in 8 years.
I mean, he smiled. But then it was like, you're still here.
That's pretty funny.
That is good. Yeah, congrats to him. What a night. He definitely had a throwback night tonight.
Yeah.
2-2 the count to Mauricio Dubon. One's off the plate, 3-2. Whole new infield for the Angels. So the Astros changed their whole outfield around. The Angels are changing their whole infield around. How about Dubon? Doesn't draw a lot of walks, but he has 2 walks today to go along with a single and 3 at-bats. Time to reveal our name that Astro, powered by Reliant. A first in Space City, notable Hall of Famer, no sleep till Brooklyn. Did he get Aspro the Astro? Bob Aspromani, first plate appearance in franchise history, inducted into the Astros Hall of Fame. Last Brooklyn Dodger ever to play in Major League Baseball. Bob Aspromani. Here he is, the hero of the day, John Singleton. What else can he do? 2 home runs, a walk. He's driven in 5. First multi-home run game. First guy since Rafael Belliard to go over 8 seasons or 8 years without in between Major League home runs. He has another hit on base for the 4th time today, as Mauricio Dubon had to duck out of the way, and he and John Singleton are having a laugh about that. Have yourself a night, John Singleton.
Doobie just saw his life flash before his eyes. Laser to right field. Watch the panic in Dubon on our Mattress Firm Supermo. Immediately hitting the ground. That was uncomfortable.
Well, you can laugh about it now. John Singleton, 3 hits on base for the 4th time. Here's Jeremy Pena, overshadowed with Singleton's night. Jeremy Pena and Martin Maldonado each have a 3 for 4 night going. Jeremy knocking in a run. Maldonado has knocked in 2.
7-8-9 in this lineup has done some serious damage in this game. Doobie after that going, hey man. Good to see that smile back.
Well, Rosenberg's been a starter in the minors, but they are approaching 90 pitches with him, and as much as Phil Nevin wants to just let him get to the finish line, he also has to protect his young pitcher.
Yeah.
So they do have bullpen actually going. Rosenberg's first outing for the Angels this year, 19 starts in Salt Lake this year. That one's in for a ball, 3-1, no swing. Pena has a chance to reach for the 4th time. Dubon's been on base 3 times with a hit and 2 walks. Singleton's been on base 4 times. Then the 8 and 9 hitters have been on base 3 times each. It's amazing in this 10-run, 14-hit game that the 2 guys who are the most productive in that lineup, Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, went a combined 0 for 8 tonight. So in a night where you are filling up the bases and scoring runs at a high clip, those guys did not contribute. We'll have a pitching change, and we'll come back in this 10-3 game with the new pitcher to face Martin Maldonado with the bases loaded. Early 2000s tomorrow when the Astros take on the Angels. 10,000 fans will receive a Kyle Tucker pinstripe jersey courtesy of Houston Methodist. Get your tickets now at astros.com/promotions. Bases are filled. Martin Maldonado already with 3 hits tonight and a couple of runs batted in. Will bat with the bases loaded against a new pitcher.
It's going to be Jaime Barria, right-hander out of that bullpen for the Angels. He's appeared in 25 games this season. You can see 6 starts, so 19 of them out of that bullpen. As a reliever, he's 1-4 with a 3.18 ERA. Took the loss last time he was out there on the 6th against the Seattle Mariners. Went an inning, gave up 1 run. It was unearned. Also had a walk and a strikeout in that appearance.
So here's Baldy. 3 more on base from that 6, 7, and 8 slot. Pena on base for a 4th time. Singleton on base for a 4th time. Baldy's been on base 3 times. Maldonado has 4 hits 3 times in his career. That one's popped up. That won't score anybody. Maldi will be retired for the second time today. C.J. Crone, actually Brandon Drury makes the play. Took over for Crone at first base. That's the second out. By the way, a lot of fans on social media mentioned that Albert Spalding, who we were talking about earlier, was also the one that founded the Sporting Goods Company. So Spalding Sporting Goods started with Albert Spalding.
Way to go, Al.
Yeah. After he pitched thousands of games for 7 years.
Goodbye, Mr. Spalding.
Hey, Altuve. Gary Pettis in a different game might have thought about sending John Singleton, but he's just going to give Altuve 1 RBI tonight. How about Jose Altuve on base 5 times? 2 hits, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch.
He's had himself a lot of fun out there on the base paths tonight, much like many Astros. But finally, somebody in the top part of that lineup getting some action.
Greg Kessinger bats for the second time. Gray's got just 1 RBI in his big league career. He's got the bases juiced here in a foul ball, 0-1. His RBI came on his first and only big league home run. Astros now lead 11-3. Altuve with the 15th hit of the game. Kessinger down 0-2 to Berea here. And a called third strike will end the inning. The Astros had a run, couple of hits, couple of walks. We head to the 9th. It'll be Phil Maton's turn in an 11-3 game. Presented by All-Star AC and Heating Services. Call 855 for my AC or online at allstarairtexas.com. By Toyota. Let's go places. And by Champion Energy. Switch to Champion Energy for no surprise charges and no hidden fees. Champion, it's time for some new energy. 11-3 game. It's been all Astros since those 2, 3, and 4 innings when they put together 10 runs. And now Phil Maton pitches.
Maton looking to close this game out. Get these fireworks underway. 54th appearance, 53 and a third innings, 58 strikeouts. Since July 1st, been a little bit rough for him, but an opportunity here to have a shutdown inning. Last time he was out there was against Baltimore, where he did have a shutdown inning. Had a strikeout and only had to do it with 8 pitches.
Eduardo Escobar gets his first at bat. He came on defensively last inning when Phil Nevin maneuvered his infield around. It'll be Escobar and then Mickey Moniak. We'll get a chance to see the young outfielder Jordan Adams hit third in this inning. Astros with an 11-3 lead. Trying to take this first game against the Angels and pick up their 8th win on the season against Los Angeles. Astros came into tonight 7-3 on the season. Tomorrow's going to be a national broadcast. It'll be on Fox tomorrow. We'll be back with you on AT&T Sportsnet Sunday afternoon. Tomorrow will be J.P. France against the lefty Tyler Anderson. Anderson threw a lot of pitches against the Astros in his last start against Houston in Anaheim. 3 innings, 85 pitches that day. That was that wild game that Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker eventually hit home runs to win that game in the 9th inning. That ball hits Maton. That's exactly what he didn't want in an 11-3 game.
You're 100% right. He kind of turned his back, realized that ball was going to get him. Tried to finish off the play, but you could see that stung him a little bit. You're right, TK. Nobody needs this in this ball game right here. We're just hoping it kind of hits off the wallet instead of the lower back.
I think it's the lower back.
That's not good. Or the elbow. It's hard to tell. I don't think he's going to stay in.
No, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
Nope. That's piece of bad news in an otherwise very good night for the Astros. So Maton will walk off the field in this 11-3 game after taking a line drive off the lower back, possibly catching a piece of the arm. We'll find out when we come back and look at it again. So we'll have a new pitcher who will take as much time as he wants to warm up. It will be Ryan Stanek when we come back. As long as he wants to warm up, it gives us a chance to tell you this is Hall of Fame weekend here at Minute Maid Park. We heard from Bill Brown earlier tonight. It is the summer of Bills. Bill Doran will be honored tomorrow along with Brownie on Hall of Fame weekend. Billy D, one of those guys, Plummer, who played a lot of years and sometimes flew under the radar, but he did a lot of things right. And, of course, Brownie going in tomorrow. If you're coming out to the ballpark, make sure you get here early for those Hall of Fame festivities. But those guys truly deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and we're happy to be a part of it here in 2023.
Yeah, just the brief video you saw of Billy Doran. I mean, that guy played hard. He's laying out, making plays on defense, and then trying to destroy Mike Scioscia, who took a beating over the years, scoring a run. So you kind of like that style of play. And, of course, Bill Brown, who we had up here, had a huge impact on my career, both on the field and off. But it's been a lot of fun. And every year it's kind of exciting to see who's going in next, because we've had such a good run of guys being inducted, and every one of them has been as pure as they can be up here in the booth with us.
This will be the fourth class. They had big classes earlier, and now we're starting to pare it down a little bit. But a lot of those guys are going to be back in attendance tomorrow to kind of oversee the new inductees, so that's always a big deal. And we have Billy Wags join us, and I know you guys always have a good time catching up.
He's outstanding. I love that guy. And he was one of the more outspoken guys in that clubhouse in 02-03 when I got traded over. But he was another guy very similar to this clubhouse that we talk about with the Astros, who you kind of show up. I mean, he looked at me with jet black hair and white tips and was like, are we going to go out and win some ball games or what? And I said, yes, we are. And he said, let's go. So it was a lot of fun to be around those guys.
Yeah, so a big weekend here in Houston at Minute Maid Park with Brownie and Doran going in tomorrow into the Hall of Fame. And we thank Billy Brown for joining us here in the booth, and Billy Wagner as well. We'll hear from Bill Doran up in the booth on Sunday.
I think I figured out how to get into the Hall of Fame. I got to change my name to Bill.
The year of Bill. And hopefully Billy Wags
into the baseball Hall of Fame.
The Cooperstown Hall of Fame, because his numbers certainly deserve it.
100%.
Through the years. We have a new pitcher here. Ryan Stanek will take over with as much time as he wants to warm up, see his numbers on the year. We'll try and probably won't get an update on Phil Maton before the end of the game, but we'll get that in the post-game show. But here is Stanek on in the ninth.
Yeah, speaking of flamethrowers, Billy Wagner was a 100-mile-an-hour type guy. We know that Ryan Stanek can get to that same velocity with his fastball, usually averaging right around 98-plus miles an hour with that fastball. 42 games this series he's seen this season. He's seen 39 innings, has 40 strikeouts. He's been good over his last 6 appearances.
Well, as warm-ups go, this one wasn't as long as some others. That's kind of the benefit of having a reliever who can get heated in a hurry. So both Mauricio Dubon and Jake Meyer sprint out of the bullpen where they were chilling out to their respective positions, and we're ready to go. Mickey Moniak batting with a runner on first base and nobody out. Ground ball to second. How about Ryan Stanek? Double play potential, yes. 1 pitch and 2 outs. How much more efficient can you get?
That is gorgeous.
So Stanek trying to close this game out and give Justin Verlander his 251st win of his big league career. First at bat for Jordan Adams, who took over in the outfield. JV won his 250th 2 starts ago with the Mets, and here's the company he joins, Blummer. Top 45 now in MLB history.
Good for him. It's kind of nice to see him on that list. He talked about the importance of trying to get as close as those to that 300-win plateau. Tonight's going to help. So if Spalding didn't make the list, did Carl Hubble invent the telescope too?
Ooh.
I mean,
that's a good call.
But these post-careers, accomplishments are pretty impressive.
Yeah. 1-2 the count to Jordan Adams. Oh, Ryan Stanek getting the call here in the ninth on short notice, trying to finish out this 11-3 game and get the Astros a half game closer to the Rangers, starting the night 2.5 games back. Rangers are playing in the third inning scoreless, and that'll do it. Stanek with a double play on one pitch, and then he strikes out the rookie outfielder Adams to end the game. 11-3 final. That is quite a way to kick off this weekend series.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun to start off this weekend series. Hall of Fame weekend with a big win from the Astros. It's also nice to see Justin Verlander making that reappearance here at Minute Maid Park and get the run support with the Astros putting up 11 runs as he qualifies for that 251st W. But it also gets the Astros a half game closer as the Texas Rangers take on the San Francisco Giants out in San Fran. But a big night for John Singleton, and a welcome back for him as well.
So the Astros victorious. We'll have the Astros post-game show coming up, presented by Whataburger. It will be Vanessa Richardson, Brian Bogusevic, and Mike Stanton tonight hosting, and Julia Morales. I think we know who her special guest will be. She hasn't talked to him at a post-game walk-off in over 8 years. Astros post-game show coming up next.